Hey, I'm Pat B.
And I'm Adam Willis.
And over there is
Just Johnny.
And this is the Geek Down. With no background sound. That's how we get
And you messed up the
dude,
intro.
man. Yo, nah, actually, no, I'm not gonna laugh that off, man. How many weeks has it been? I'm tired of this. I'm telling you, don't let it happen.
But you didn't say
Zen.
on WEMF radio. That's probably
Who's
his cue, and you messed that up. That's your fault.
Forget it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Geek Down here on WEMF. I am Pat B. To the side of me, I look over to my man. He stays crunchy in milk. He's Black Adam Willis.
That was the best compliment I've ever received, actually. Yes, but how are you doing, Patrice? Are you enjoying the last few days of the city without the college invasion? As I am, because this is a bittersweet week. You know what I mean?
Wait, why bittersweet?
Because working in the restaurant bar industry, a lot of my business depends upon these students coming back and spending money. But at the same time, a lot of my sanity is based on them not being here.
Okay, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm sorry, man. I didn't realize it hit you
It's
that hard.
Such a week. Yeah, no.
Comes in struggling. Oh, you gotta understand them. Oh, things are tough all around.
Gotta wait in line for everything now. Yeah, Chipotle's crazy.
Oh, man, no, I'm okay, man. You know, I have enough of a hard enough time going to an establishment to enjoy a nice cocktail with my friends and discuss Chaucer and the work.
I was reading Byron the other day in a Starbucks.
Just sitting there, you know. I was in Indochina discussing. No, dude. Honestly, man, I'm enjoying the city. It's been nice weather, even though they were talking about downpours.
It has.
Yeah, you know, and dude, the blow up of like all movies coming out that have flown under the radar were great. And then some that were just crap, but still decent to see. So much stuff on it's coming out on Netflix, man. We're talking about a bunch of them today on the show.
Yeah, we got a bunch of reviews. We got some movies. We got some TV.
Oh,
a bunch of good entertainment coming in. We're all gonna cover. What do you got? I know we're talking about the Defenders.
Oh yeah, we're talking about the Defenders. We're talking about Birth of the Dragon.
Yes.
Which I know just Johnny over there is anxious to see.
Oh yeah, can't wait, man. I love Bruce Lee.
Oh, you will.
It's about Bruce Lee, right?
You will be surprised,
Bruce
my
Tree,
friend.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Also,
it's about Bruce Lee.
The man over there is kid tested, mother approved. He's just Johnny.
Yo.
Dude, you remember all of them? Sorry to interrupt you, but it's one of the subgenres of the exploitation thing. It's not like blaxploitation or like women in cage movies. It's like a Bruce Lee exploitation. There was how many Bruce Lees were there? There was Bruce Lee,
yeah,
L.I., Bruce.
Yeah,
Bruce Leroy.
Bruce
What was
Leroy,
that
of
one?
course. But there's
Bruce Leroy was the Last Dragon.
The Last Dragon.
That movie.
There was
so
like
good.
4 or 5
So good.
Bruce Lee.
There was a lot
they
of
were
them.
all making really bad kung fu movies.
Well, what's the movie? Doggone it. Finishing the Game is a good movie. I think you should see. It's a mockumentary about Bruce Lee's last movie, The Game.
Right.
After he passed.
It's where he fights Kareem.
Yeah, it's where he fights Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with that
the footprint in his chest and the
big
yellow
ass,
suit.
like a 1.5 foot long footprint on his chest.
Literally,
Yeah.
like his whole torso.
Does the Golden Child count?
The
No.
Golden Child does not count. That
Does
is
not count?
Bruce Lee.
That is Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy.
As, in
But
the
it
most Eddie Murphy movie.
Yeah, but no, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about when the movies tried to capitalize on Bruce Lee's fame with this is Bryson Lau. You know, it's like
Right.
so he's like Bruce Lee's second cousin. Once
There was
removed,
this whole
nothing
thing, like
that.
late 70s, where they're just literally ripping off Bruce Lee by using his name,
Well, yeah, but think about it this
but
way.
spelling it differently.
The comparison to that now is you have a movie that comes out and it's big in theaters, so the Sci-Fi Channel releases something that's along the same line story-wise.
Right.
You know, when Twister was big, they came out with Tornado. Oh.
Yeah, or like Volcano, and there was Dante's Peak.
Well,
I think Dante's Peak was first. But
that was
either
different.
way.
Those were two movies in theaters, like two major motion pictures.
Not just like a direct-to-DVD rip-off of something that you might like.
Yeah,
I get you.
But now you talking about that era. I mentioned Finishing the Game because that's a mockumentary of studios bringing in random cats. Like I remember the main cat there was you had Bruce Lee, and then there was I think his name was Bryce Liu. I think his name was Bryce. Yeah, and he was like another martial arts star. And a bunch of people because they were gonna do
Same initials, it's the same thing.
Yeah, they were just gonna cast a different Asian actor to finish Bruce Lee's unfinished movie.
Yeah.
You know, so weird stuff, man,
Yeah.
going on. It was kind of funny.
It's troubling watching that that movie we're talking about. It's because
Finishing the Game.
or the last Bruce Lee movie,
Yeah,
because he didn't.
surviving the game.
Yeah, it's because he doesn't. He's not in every scene, so really all he's in is at the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where he's actually moving up the tower and fighting like basically a higher boss. It's like a really good end to a video game. Basically, is that movie? You know what I mean? But
Well, what
all the
people don't
scenes
know-
before that, it's like really bad stand-ins for Bruce Lee.
We try not to really
Really
focus
really
on that.
focus
Like,
on
let's
that.
not dishonor his legacy by focusing on how crappy the movie was. Herb, you've seen Surviving the Game, my friend?
Sorry?
Have you seen Surviving the Game?
I have not.
Yeah, he
Okay,
don't.
so what? Surviving the Game is Bruce Lee's last movie. It's the one where he wears that yellow jumpsuit
Is
that
the
he's
name
become
of it?
like famous
The
for.
actual name of it?
Surviving the Game, yeah. Yes,
Is
I'm
that
sure.
the one he kills? What's his name in it?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
So what, Chuck Norris?
Chuck Norris.
No.
Oh,
that's
no. That
Enter
was
the
that was Return of the Dragon.
Return of the-
I've seen Return of the Dragon. I haven't seen anything past that.
Okay, Return of the Dragon was different because you have Enter the Dragon, and then Return of the Dragon had nothing to do with Enter the Dragon at all. Completely different story. It takes place in America. He's here to help some folks open a restaurant and run it, and the mob is
No, it was
involved.
Game of Death. That's what it was.
Game of Death.
Yeah, that's the last one.
Damn, Surviving the Game. Wow, I know what Surviving the Game is. You're gonna get a kick out of
That
this.
ain't right, but
No, you're gonna get a
well,
kick out of this. Surviving the Game is that movie with Ice-T being hunted in the woods by Charles S. Dutton and,
Yeah.
and Gary Busey.
Which is like a take on a bunch of other movies. Which is
Yeah.
Hard Target has that.
Man.
In
Yeah,
it,
Hard Target.
too. And the
Yeah,
most,
Hard
most
Target,
dangerous game
Hard
is
Target
the
had
original.
Wilford Brimley though.
Yes,
In
as his dad.
God
his
damn all.
grandpa or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It
I
was
still
his,
have
his,
your
his
shotgun,
uncle.
Chance. I still have your shotgun.
Oh, awful.
And he shoots somebody with a bow. Wilford Brimley, Mr. Diabetes
it was an
himself,
exploding
shoots
bow,
somebody. No, it wasn't exploding, but he
Okay.
shoots somebody with. I think it was on fire.
Yeah,
But-
that movie.
And they had the entire background of him was just like this burning thing. He's got like this great Carhartt thing with his mustache, and he's just shooting people with bow and arrow.
Yeah, this cat was gangster in it, man. Yo, Herb, can you do me a
Check your
favor?
diabetes.
How's my mic sound? Because I'm getting some like tinny audio in the headphones
Yeah,
here.
fading in now too.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
All right. No. Okay. So that was Wilford Brimley riding on horseback, firing a bow at people. Yeah, that's crazy
Yeah, the
stuff.
90s got a little heady.
No kidding. But we
Turn me
talk
on?
about the
Alright.
70s and we've gotten so far off the point of the
Not
actual
so
show
far
because
off the point, but we got a lot of good stuff coming out
Yeah.
to review, and of course one of them is this new Bruce Lee.
yes, survive. See now I'm still doing it. I'm sorry. Game of Death, and finishing the game is the mockumentary, and it gave us. Remember the dude Han from the Fast and
Yes.
Furious franchise?
Yes.
Yep, he's in there.
Oh,
And
okay.
I mentioned him as Han
I
because
was always wondering what he was doing lately.
Well, no, this was before actually. This was long before. This was before. I think this was between Tokyo Drift and Fast 5. So he was in this movie finishing the game, and he's actually a big dude. You can't tell because when he's up against Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson, he looks tiny.
As most people would.
Yeah, but you see him in finishing the game, and he's actually like he's kind of big. He's kind of built.
Those movie steroids.
I don't know about that because it's not ridiculous. It's not like mutinous. It's not like ridiculous proportions and such. You know, he hasn't gone Zac Efron. You know, he still keeps it within like
Or
dude
Chris
bounds.
Evans or something like that.
Chris Evans.
They're all on it.
Well,
They're all
Chris Evans just kind of slimmed down and cut up. Like he's getting fatter now. You know.
Well, this is a whole nother story, but
Yep,
like,
lay
yeah.
it on me. What do you got?
Well, I'm just saying Chris Evans has to be on steroids. I mean, because Captain America is essentially the story of the first steroids. It's like, you give a guy a shot or something like that, you put him in the thing, and then he comes out bigger than ever.
Well, yeah, but he was always kind of a in shape guy. So I mean, he's,
I don't know. It's hard to stay in that kind of shape year round. You know what I mean? Whenever the
all right. No,
they
I
go
hear you.
on.
I hear you.
But
Okay,
that's-
no,
like I said,
that
that's
makes
neither
sense.
here nor there.
But I will point out as well, though, we are just regular schmoes. If your job, professionally, was to stay in that
Right.
good shape,
If you're bread and butter, you know what I
yeah,
mean.
you
is
got
to
you got
be
you
that
got
type
a
of
little
shape,
extra benefit. You got a little extra help on
Yes.
your side.
You got the
personal
home gym,
trainers,
you got the trainers coming in, you got the the dietitian.
exactly,
making
and
sure
then
you
your
eat.
paycheck depends on it.
Right.
Also, the amount of ass you get depends on it.
But at the same time, you think Wolverine and Hugh Jackman is getting that big that late in his career?
Oh,
that,
no, Hugh
that
Jack-
late in his he's an
Nah,
older guy. You
nah.
don't get in that type of shape like
Yeah.
that with probably doing something.
Nah, that fool ruined himself. Like he's
And I'm
he's,
not mad about it. That's not what I'm saying. But
Bro, I'm mad.
that's-
I'm hating. Hate.
All right.
Hugh Jackman can sit on it. No, I'm kidding.
Kills all
Okay,
three
now
of
let's
us.
get right into it because I know you were jazzed for our first review. Yeah. Right, even Outcast is on sucker. No, I know you were jazzed for our first review, Logan Lucky.
Yes, which I have not seen, but I am really excited to see this because I am a giant Steven Soderbergh fan.
Okay, cool.
You beat me to it, so I'm really excited to hear your review. And this has a bunch of my favorite actors in it too, including
this had an
Daniel Craig.
action-packed cast. I thought you were gonna say Katie Holmes. Your favorite actor,
Channing
Katie
Tatum.
Holmes. Channing Tatum's done a lot of good work for someone who we really didn't expect to go past those dance movies. He's actually proved he's a good comedic actor.
Yeah, I mean, over the past few years, he's really kind of remade himself as an A-list actor, which is crazy when you think of like Step Up, like, nah, this guy's done.
Well, I mean, to be fair, in Step Up, at the very least, you could see like physicality. So I thought at best he'd do like a bunch of straight-to-video action movies.
Right,
you know,
typecast as this guy that can dance and maybe just be a cute face and something. You know?
Yeah,
now he's actually
like the type of career John Cena's had. Outside of wrestling, in wrestling, John Cena's freaking, like he's legend status. But in movies, this dude's done. They cast him as a soldier here and a soldier there and a mercenary there, and then a dad who was a soldier there. So a veteran dad and stuff. So I mean, I get it, and I'm happy for him. He beat the status quo. He bucked the system.
He did.
Yeah, it worked out for him. Yeah. So
John Cena.
Sorry, I was talking about Channing Tatum.
I know, but I'm saying John Cena, like they have to kind of do that thing where they kind of pick on their former selves. You know what I mean? Like that. I think Channing Tatum is too well aware of his reputation before he started getting the bigger roles, and I think having that being able to laugh at yourself type thing, as Cena is kind of doing as well now. And
he's done that because I mean he's been in some decent movies, and you forget he's in them. He was in Haywire, if you remember him in that.
Yes.
I don't.
And he has that great scene at the table.
Every now and then.
He's at the diner, you know what I mean? He's talking to her, and all of a sudden he just belts this chick in the face.
That was another thing, though. He was in there to get his ass kicked by the chick to show that no, she is legitimately on the men's level.
But she would have had.
Though you might think these are big dudes and she's the small woman. No, she was kicking ass.
Yeah.
But he was there to receive an ass whooping.
At the same time, he would have had her if a guy didn't step in and he had to distract himself by whooping that guy's ass too.
Oh, true, but I mean the movie the movie had layers, is what we're saying.
Yes, it did.
I love how we're talking about this random bullshit movie. Herb, you haven't seen it, right? Because you're over there like fascinated. He's leaning in, just like I
gotta check this out.
Anyway, that's another Steven Soderbergh movie as well. Who directed?
Wait, Haywire was Soderbergh?
Yeah.
Damn, it's been so long.
He's been cast in Channing Tatum and everything. Yeah, he started with Magic Mike, Haywire, and now Logan Lucky. He sees something in this guy that something that he enjoys anyway.
Well, good for him, man. Okay, so I can't wait to see Gambit by Steven Soderbergh.
Imagine.
All right, well then I don't know how anxious you'll be to hear about this. Then I got some stuff to say, but
you're gonna show.
Let me give the breakdown first. West Virginia, born and raised on the playground. West Virginia family. Jimmy Logan teams up with his one-armed brother Clyde and sister Melly to steal money from the Charlotte Motor Speedway in North Carolina. Jimmy also recruits demolition expert Joe Bang.
It's a great name.
Bang. It really is. Say it one time. Joe Bang.
Joe Bang.
Joe Bang. All right, Herb, let me get a Joe Bang.
Awful. I'm not going to say it.
Joe Bang.
Hater, Johnny, you got a Joe Bang in you?
I got nothing, man. I don't even know what that is.
No Joe Bang?
What is this? Joe Bang.
Joe Bang.
Bang.
All right, let's
go. That right there is a team player. Herb. This guy. All right, but Joe Bang to help them break into the track's underground system. Complications arise when a mix-up forces the crew to pull off the heist during a popular NASCAR race while also trying to dodge a relentless FBI agent. Dude.
So this sounds exactly like a redneck Ocean's 11.
Yes, that's exactly how I was going to put it, man. It's kind of like a hybrid between a Wes Anderson movie and an old school Guy Ritchie movie.
Okay.
Like if Guy Ritchie came from Louisiana instead of England. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I hear what you're saying.
And now Joe Bang is played by all people Daniel Craig, James Bond himself. So he puts on this like thick redneck accent,
high pitched too.
Well,
right?
I mean he's high pitched in general. That's just how he speaks. I mean, I'm not going to fault him.
He doesn't speak like this in the movie. This is definitely this affectation that's a little.
Yeah, he was definitely forcing this, but a lot of people were. Channing Tatum, if he had an accent, he's worked a lot to repress it. and Adam Driver.
Mm-hmm.
They give him he does a thick accent saying the weirdest stuff. So I'm not sure how effective that's going to be because it just took me out of it when I'm looking at these people. Like, Adam Driver has done a good accent.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember Llewellyn, oh, dang, what was his name?
Inside Llewyn Davis.
And thank you, Inside Llewyn Davis. Where'd I get Llewellyn? I know where I got Llewellyn from. Inside Llewyn Davis.
Llewellyn Moss, you're thinking from.
He wasn't in that, was he? What? That's not a thing. That's a person.
Llewellyn Moss is the bad guy from what's that Coen Brothers movie? The other Coen Brothers movie.
Dang it, not Forget. No, it's Anton.
With
Sugar.
Josh Brolin. Yeah, Anton Sugar. That's Llewellyn Moss is the guy searching for, played
okay,
by Josh Brolin.
Dude, man, all these start to like run together when you get that same hair that
the 70s porn hair.
It's like the Prince Valiant. I had a hard time taking this dude seriously until he started killing people with the cow. What do you call it? Pacifier with the mercy killing machine.
Yeah, basically it puts the.
Yeah, this has nothing to do at all with Logan Lucky. Logan Lucky is the story of Channing Tatum and his brother, played by Adam Driver. And both of them are, I don't want to say simple rednecks, because that really does them a disservice. But they're really kind of like, basic, uncomplicated dudes. They're not about a lot of pomp and circumstance. And there's even like one really cool scene where some dude gets uppity and tries to play that fancy stuff. And they check him proper. And you think the scene's going one way, and then you realize where it's really going. And you're just like, damn, that hat. Oh, damn, all right. Sure. Do not mess with these guys. And that was like my course of reaction.
Okay.
Where I'm like, he's gonna do the stupid thing. Yeah, he did the stupid thing. He did. Oh, wait, no, he didn't. Oh, what? Oh, I didn't even see that coming. The movie threw me a curveball right there, and that's the thing. It's like it telegraphs a lot, and then like changes direction on you.
Well, that's
twist.
Obviously, because you're dealing with like a heist movie. Some of that is the form and the structure of the movie is also matching like the content.
Yeah.
As well.
But I will say that as far as like the surprises and the awe came for me. Everything else in the movie was I couldn't get away from bad accents. I couldn't get away from the horrible relationship between Channing Tatum and Katie Holmes. I couldn't get away from the blatant displays of, okay, this is obviously your ass character here, and you got another ass character here, and you got another ass character here. And a lot of it was like these people were kind of cartoons. It wasn't just like I'm showing depictions of personality types. I'm showing extremes of personality types.
Very one-dimensional.
Yes. Most everyone. Channing Tatum actually had some good layers, and you see at the
We're also
at the
dealing
level,
with simple people too, right?
Yeah,
So maybe the one dimension's on purpose.
Well, look at it this way: simple people made by folks that are usually more highbrow. So it's like their opinion of these folks. I've met rednecks.
Yeah.
I'm friends with some rednecks. Some of them are actually really good, really cool people, and some of them are very intelligent. Just because they talk like this doesn't mean they're stupid.
Right.
And this seems like a movie that was made by somebody who automatically assumes, they talk like this, so they must be stupid. That's one thing that I actually it bugged me about the movie.
It's hard to have an opinion because I haven't seen it, but I just.
Well, no, dude. From somebody who's seen it, that's what I got from this. And
I could definitely see that happening.
Yeah, and that's one thing that really took me out of it because I thought there was some good material here, But it's just like, and I don't know if I can blame the direction for that because the actors have to make a choice as well,
But so you're saying you got hung up on the whole movie because you thought the characters weren't.
He's off there. You're getting that defensive face on.
No,
I'm
I'm not
saying
asking because you said that's what threw you off the whole thing. So that's what you said.
Well, no, that's one of the things that threw me off. Another thing that really threw me off was the characters didn't really have much chemistry between them. You get cats that are supposed to be brothers, and I mean there were a few different sets of brothers in this, and I didn't feel any kind of relationship between them, and that may not be a fault of the acting. That may be a fault more of the writing, trying to get the story from point A to point B without acknowledging that we're paying attention to how the characters carry you from point A to point B. A lot of it was done more for comedy, so I get that when you want to write jokes, you're not really thinking of like the personal relationships of people and the feelings and such. So I get that because at its crux, it was not a serious heist movie. Like Ocean's 11 is a serious heist movie with jokes. Versus even better. The Score is a serious heist movie with jokes.
Right.
So it's not trying to be one of those, and it's letting you know right off the bat. Like if Ricky Bobby decided to knock over a bank one day, that's almost what this was.
It's funny that
So
what's the most redneck thing you could probably hijack to is like in a NASCAR race.
You know
what I mean?
what?
So
I would think so
the-
too. But the money that NASCAR makes,
Oh my God,
What?
it's ridiculous.
yeah,
Ridiculous.
like you could send an entire high school to college for like all 4 years off of like one day of like one big NASCAR race.
For
It is
sure.
ridiculous.
They don't
For
have
sure.
them patches on their clothes for nothing.
For real, the sponsorship is out through the roof, and people are, well, I don't know, but all they do is drive around in a circle. Yeah, and they get
That is true.
paid, like ridiculously. So don't sleep on it. But man, I honestly have to call out Channing Tatum for his sympathetic acting in this. Man, it's a movie where it's not that complicated a script. The fare is pretty simple. It seems like one you'll just go in and just kind of sit down, maybe get a couple of laughs, and just call it a day. Channing Tatum really works the angle of, I'm just a guy trying to, I'm just a guy trying to keep it simple, trying to raise my kids right when their mother and stepdad, because they're divorced, is basically exposing them to every like negative aspect of Southern life, possible, imaginable. And I just kind of want to, support my family, support myself, and live and be happy. Like he was like, hot stuff in the past, and now he's just a guy trying to make it.
It's
And I
like
got
hot
that.
stuff, like reliving high school fame. You know what
Kind
I
of,
mean? Like
yeah.
that kind of
If Al Bundy had more of a soul,
Good call.
like
Wow.
that would be Channing Tatum.
It
in
was
this movie.
Al Bundy's old high school football days.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. I got
But
you.
and I like that. I got that. Like I'm on this dude's side.
Sure.
Even when he's doing negative stuff, I'm like, yeah, but I see why he's doing it, and I like the guy personally. So I'm still with him.
Well, I
I'm
think
still
that's
backing him.
at the core of the heist movie genre. You know what I mean? Is the people doing it? So usually it's like pulled in for one last job, or it's just
Oh,
like
yeah,
you got to
I-
do it to for the family or something like that. It's always some reason that has to make you identify with the person doing the crime. You know what I mean? Because they can't just be bad, or
Well,
else you wouldn't care.
the heist movies or the
The heist movie,
people-
the character in the heist movie. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Whoever's putting on the heist, they have to have a justifiable excuse, or else what are you watching?
Okay, no, true. You can also just be like really into criminals, man. I want to see these cats do some bad stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Which could be that,
That's
but it
right.
wouldn't be a big audience.
Now run them over. Like what? Mhm. But-
Grand Theft Auto 3.
All right, but no, if you really want to see this movie, it is a movie I think you will not hate. I myself just kind of walked out of it like, blah. It's like I would have really enjoyed this had it been made by a different director, I think.
Ooh.
What?
I'm just like, what director? How would they do it different? I'm just scared.
Okay.
Is it the director or is it the writer?
No, the story I think really just didn't take into account how these things would be perceived. I think if you had someone who took maybe a darker tone with it,
Mm.
and not that it should be a dark movie, but just a darker tone to get rid of some of the more some of the parts that felt more lampoon than actual story development, then I think it would have been it would have had more of an effect with me, because this is a movie I really should like. I like these actors. I love heist movies. I'm really into racing, not specifically NASCAR, but I appreciate NASCAR.
You're a big Fast and Furious fan?
Oh, hell yeah. So it's just like all this should have been by the combinations a movie that I really enjoyed, and I just kind of walked out like, I probably wouldn't see it again myself because of the effect it had on me. And I think if David Fincher had approached this kind of movie, I think it would have had a better effect on me.
Okay.
So it's called Logan Lucky. It stars Channing Tatum. It stars Adam Driver. It stars. I can't get over the fact that he was James Bond. It stars Daniel Craig, which I will say.
By the way, he wasn't James Bond. He is still James Bond because he just announced that he is signed on for the next James Bond movie, which is a big deal too.
Jeez, dude.
So Bond 25, he's coming back for the last one.
Idris Elba cannot get a break, can he?
I mean, you got to keep it to the guy who's done it well. So you know what I mean. It's not like
True.
they passed him over. They kept the same guy, so it's not the same.
Yeah,
thing.
and I don't hate him as James Bond. I just haven't liked him as much as I did in Casino Royale.
Casino Royale is the best Bond movie in the
Casino
world.
Royale
so
is absolutely
that's why.
fantastic.
It's the best.
That Jimmy Cagney dude.
Jimmy Cagney.
That was an inside joke. I really hope someone out there got that. But okay, the movie's called Logan Lucky. I really call out the acting of Channing Tatum. This dude continuing to impress me over and over again. And I mean, he knows that he's still seen as just kind of a pretty faced dude with a body. but he's taking acting roles that really let him flex some muscle. This one, he's able to flex those sympathetic chops a bit.
Not just his abs.
Not just his abs. Daniel Craig, also a drastic departure from him.
Which I like. I like that idea of him, you know what I mean? He is Bond. He is like this, just the epitome of man, cool, handsome, collected, and now he's doing this
British,
like...
It's funny that you say that.
Very proper.
This rednecky, like high-pitched...
Well, yeah, but you see
Joe
this
Bang.
dude. You see this dude in Layer Cake. Yes, he's awesome.
That
and you
guy
want to be
had
him.
the job as Bond.
Yeah, but he is not a good-looking dude. And then they cast him as someone who women will like, it's like.
But he has that different sort of handsomeness. He has that that grit. You know what I mean? I think that people respond to.
I think it's the suit too.
Could be. Could be.
All right. Well, the movie's called Logan Lucky. Dude, check it out if you're really into these things or if you're really into Steven Soderbergh. I myself didn't have that positive reaction to it. I didn't have that negative reaction to it. I just kind of walked out like meh. For a movie it is like pretty filled with pretty much like action with like very short breaks in between, but the biggest thing you'll remember is Joe Bang.
Nice.
It's Daniel Craig. Besides that, it's Logan Lucky out in theaters right now. I gotta give it a pass, but if you're a hardcore fan like Adam is, I think you'll probably see it anyways.
Yeah, I'll probably enjoy it.
All right, so that's not the only thing we've got on the roster, my friends.
Oh, we got a bunch of stuff.
Man, okay, Herb, I want to know, were you ever a fan of The Tick?
Yeah, actually.
Okay, cool. The Tick is something that I grew up with personally, like comics and cartoons, and was always really close to. All right, gentlemen?
No, not so much.
No?
Actually, I mean, I like putty.
Adam did not like fun.
I like the putty Tick.
Okay, all right.
I watched
live
a little
action.
bit of the cartoon series. It was all right.
Okay, well, I myself was familiar with every iteration, including the short-lived live-action series that came out a few years ago. Actually, a few years ago.
Like 15 years ago.
It's like 15? Damn.
You're old, man.
Well, you were there too. Stop.
I was there too, yeah.
All right, this
I'm old
dude.
too.
Well, this
You're
is-
old fogey. You can't
So
do
this is the new reimagined Tick, and this
Yes.
is also one of the 3 Amazon series that you could vote on. They had the pilot up on Amazon.com for Prime members and everything like
they
that.
had Jean-Claude Van Johnson.
Jean-Claude Van Johnson
And you remember the third one? I don't even remember the third
I
one.
Love Dick.
That's
what it's called.
Okay, Adam,
Right?
Adam, this is not the place to confess. I'm asking the question here.
Ooh, set me up.
No.
The Kevin Bacon show. So, but I was really pumped for Jean-Claude Van Johnson because I'm a Van Damme guy.
I thought that would have taken off too, but I'm kind of glad
They're
did.
doing it. They're doing it.
They're doing. But
Yeah.
what was the purpose of voting?
Wait, they're doing all 3?
All 3 of them are having
sweet.
their own
Well,
series.
that's
So
good.
Jean-Claude Van Johnson is premiering in a few months.
Oh,
Okay.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. So
I hope it
but
has
the Tick
split.
is the first one to actually be released.
Mhm.
But yeah, so how was I didn't get a chance to really jump into this one.
Oh well, this one
Of course, it's not.
I caught and I was watching with a scrutinous eye. Let me break it down for our listeners. If anyone doesn't know, Netflix has re-released the Tick series
Amazon.
based off of Amazon.
Mm.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Amazon has re-released the Tick series based off of the popular cartoon The Tick, which in itself was based off of the popular comic book The Tick. And it's a story about a blue guy who's a
Tick.
superhero and his sidekick Arthur, and their interactions with a lot of wacky supervillains and a lot of wacky superheroes in a world that's just wacky in itself, which is one thing I always loved about them. Now, we got the live-action series a few years ago starring Patrick Warburton, which followed that original style. Gave
Putty.
more of a okay.
Sorry.
He
Keep going,
played a
Putty.
character named Putty on Seinfeld, which is an old and outdated reference, and I acknowledge that you're confusing the hell out of our audience.
Putty?
Because
There's no way.
Putty is 25 plus years old.
Yeah,
right now,
and then
man.
one of the biggest TV shows of all time.
True. Herb, how old are you, brother?
32.
Okay, maybe not Herb. Johnny, how old are you?
33.
30. Damn it. Okay, well, anyone
You're not gonna get anybody not knowing Putty around here.
Well,
All right.
no, dude, please, man. Seinfeld is an ancient show. All right, I sat and watched the video last week of. No, you know what I'm not gonna do.
It's not here or there, yeah.
Okay, well, if anyone doesn't know, which most likely most of you don't, Putty was a character on Seinfeld. A more relevant reference would be he's the guy that plays Joe on Joe, the guy in the wheelchair on Family Guy. All right, this has nothing to do with the Tick, by the way. In this new Tick, In a world where superheroes have been real for decades, an accountant with no superpowers comes to realize his city is owned by a supervillain. As he struggles to uncover this conspiracy, he falls in league with a strange blue superhero. Very simple, very basic premise, and also very boring premise. This is The Tick. One thing we loved about The Tick, which I'm very upset this show doesn't do, is The Tick has always featured really out there supervillains, left and right, and out there superheroes. The city just rife with them. And that was an awesome thing that set The Tick apart because everything else, Batman operates in his one city and he fights crime, and there's crime all over the place, but it's the one superhero we focus on. You watch Smallville, not maybe you watch anything with Superman, and he's like the one superhero that does this. And The Tick was like, no, there's tons of superheroes all over the place, and they're all fighting crime, and there's tons of villains, and they're all doing stuff. So you can defer action happening
to other superheroes for certain jobs.
And this took it back to those realistic. Well, not took it back, took it to those realistic bounds that The Tick has never really pushed, because that's not what The Tick should be, and it's not what The Tick has been in the past. And I'm not going to harp on the differences between series. I'm just going to say that I like the old Tick because of that, and this new Tick did not have that, and that's one thing I definitely took notice too. This is the story. Oh, also, have you seen Shaun of the Dead?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You remember the asshole roommate?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pete.
Yep.
Okay. Pete is the Tick. And I'm looking for his name right here. His name is Peter Seraph. Peter. That didn't sound right. Yeah. Okay. Peter Serafinowicz. And I can never remember the full last name, so I had to look it up. I'm not gonna lie about that. But dude, this new Tick is more of a it seems more centered around Arthur than the Tick himself, which was a strange choice, unique choice, but it made it a more self-aware show.
That's how I remember the cartoon TV series being. Was it did follow as Arthur as the main character, and he is this sidekick to a superhero, the Tick, and there are other sidekicks to other superheroes. They are all essentially have no special abilities, they're just ordinary people trying to help take care of the the minutia, right? Sign the paperwork, dot the T's, cross the I's, maybe sometimes carry the gadget that the hero needs in order to save the day. They are.
What, you get this low opinion sidekicks.
Well, that's how they presented
they pack
it.
the hero's lunch every now and then.
Yeah, that was how they presented it in the cartoons.
They'll clean the hero's cat box.
Yeah, that's how they presented it in the cartoons. The Tick, he was strong, right? He was doing his heroic deeds, and Arthur would try to do his own heroic deeds, but usually failed or fumbled every single time. The only thing he did have, though, was those wings, right?
I feel like you were reading some bad fan fiction. Nah, the original Tick,
TV series,
the original Tick,
cartoon,
it made Arthur a character. He wasn't just like a random, decoy or background figure. Arthur was legit there, and a couple stories did revolve around him, but he was not the main focus of the show. Oddly enough, if you're talking about the cartoon series, the main focus of the show was the heroes around the Tick. Like it would start off with an episode would start off with Deflator Mouse and American Maid are having an argument, and then there's a I don't know, Chairface is doing something, and then the Tick gets involved. One of my personal favorites is the whole group of superheroes is going to this new bar for superheroes, and then a bomber comes up, and he's the crazy midnight bomber. What bombs at midnight? And that is where your story would lie. And then the conflict comes in because there's another superhero, quote unquote, called the Tick. So these were like the weird stories that the Tick was involved in, but he wasn't a catalyst. He was a component of these stories. This series has Arthur as the main character, and it's mostly about him coming into his own as a sidekick and accepting his role as part of the superhero team. And the Tick is just kind of like this figure who shows up every now and then, and he's not always.
Is that the whole season is like that?
Most of the season. The last couple episodes get more into like the action and no realization of what we are and what we do, but most of it is Arthur's like, I don't want to be. I'm not a sidekick. I'm a guy. I'm investigating this. I want nothing to do with superheroes. I want nothing to do with villains. I just want to prove that they exist. Okay, cool. So you want to prove that they exist so you can bow out?
Right.
It's a weird
kind of lame
point of view to come with. Well, that's one thing that bothered me because I was a really big fan of this type of comic story where it's not a direct good and bad story. It's more these things exist in the world, and we tackle them from a human angle with lots of comedy in between.
You're right.
I will call out Peter. I'm not going to try to say it again. I will call out Pete from
the guy who
Shaun of
plays the
the
Tick.
That does him a complete disservice. His name is Peter Serafinowicz. And I will call out his Tick because, one, the guy's not American. He's English.
Yeah,
And,
I was about to say.
Yep, and he does a pretty good American accent. Not just American accent, but the real heroic focus on words and
He's
such.
got to be very bolsterous.
Yeah, we have to fight evil, old chum. One of those.
Yeah.
He does it pretty well. Everyone got used to, well, it can't be anyone but Patrick Warburton, and I think he's pick up the man like, no, I can do this too. Check me out. And they changed the suit from the original pilot. It's no longer that kind of like amorphous, more bug-like. I always thought was gross appearance, like it had in the pilot. They made it a more smooth. It looked more like the old live-action Tick suit.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much on this because there's not much to say that's not negative. I mean, I do like that they had a couple of different villains with abilities, but it ran more like a continuous story than a bunch of individual serials, which it should have, I think, because that's one of the things that allowed the Tick to show different characters and made the world fun to be in. And this was more, I'm tolerating these episodes.
Oh.
That's what really got me.
You're just trying to get to the end just to finish it.
Yeah.
And that sounds like crap.
So it sounds like they had one big, story arc in mind, but unfortunately it was this very mundane, somewhat boring, and too serious of a tone type of story that they
Absolutely.
What's interesting is show's still the Tick. It's about the Tick. It's named the Tick, and we're taking it from the
Arthur's
point of view with
Well, I
The
was
Tick
like,
being as kind
if
of a
the
side
Tick,
story.
if it was Arthur's point of view, but the Tick was always there, that'd
Right.
be cool. I'll be okay with that. This felt like have you seen those commercials with the fighter Canelo and Sylvester Stallone? Okay, it's this line of commercials for it's a beer commercial,
okay.
and Canelo's basically just trying to live his life. He goes to a barbecue. He's like training in the gym, and at random points, Sly Stallone just comes out the cut and harasses him for no reason. And he keeps telling him be bold, and just like this dude, he's just trying to work out. He's a fighter, let him box. And then and Sly Stallone's on the side with a big ass belt buckle. Be bold, showing him the belt buckle. The guy
That's just good advertising. I don't know what you're talking about.
dumb. He's at a barbecue. The guy's got a black eye because he's a fighter. And then Sly's like tapping him on, like poking him in the chest and stuff. Hey, be bold. Put this, be bold. Like, and one of my personal favorites is the dude's like he's in an ice bath, and Sly just walks in, and for no reason, hey, be bold. I'm like, what do you want from him? He's taking a bath.
Have a beer.
It's well, that's what it felt like. Arthur's like trying to do his investigation, and Tick pops up, hey, be a hero. Like, dude, let him do his thing. He's trying, and he doesn't want to get into this fist fight.
Well, it doesn't sound like something I would be interested in.
I'm
This
kind of
doesn't
bummed.
really sound.
I had such high hopes for this dude.
You
I
did.
was excited, and it brought me back to, it's just another. This is an internet show I would watch once and not watch again.
Bummer.
Yeah. And I mean, I can't recommend it, dude. I really can't. And you have no idea how much I wanted to. I was all in for this, and then man,
They should have just called this one
slapped
Lyme
me in the
disease.
face. Damn.
Certainly want to stay away from that.
Well, no, I get it. That was well placed, but it's like I'm too hurt to laugh.
Too hurt to laugh.
I'm too hurt to laugh.
Sorry, buddy.
No, it's okay.
I know how much you care about
You should
this.
call it Lyme disease. All right, man. But it's the Tick series from Amazon. It's available now. If you've got Amazon Prime, it's actually available free.
Free. Yeah.
But you know what? It was free for me, and I want my money back. That's all I'm gonna say.
I want my next re-up for Prime to be $98.
All right. Oh wait, nah, dude. Hold up. Our next review is one I know Johnny's been salivating for.
Oh, yeah.
All right. The movie is Birth of the Dragon.
Yes.
Mm.
And
I
this
feel like we should have a sound bite for
follows the battle between, which is a real life thing,
Mhm.
between Bruce Lee and Wong Jack Man.
Yes.
And the battle of basically the two disciplines.
Yep.
Correct. Yes.
Mhm.
And this is a real story. This is this actually happened.
Inspired by real events.
I mean,
This
of course,
story
didn't have a
was-
camera, but this is one of the most famous fights
Yes, it is.
in history. You know what I mean? I remember one of my favorite movies growing up was Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. played by Jason Scott Lee. I love this movie growing up, but this is like the
It was
biopic.
not a good movie though. Dude.
No, it was basically the biopic of Bruce Lee. And
starring Jason Scott Lee in his first role. Well, Jason Scott Lee, no relation to Bruce Lee,
right?
And Jason Scott Lee in his first big role after Griff's henchman number 3 in Back to the Future 2.
Right, and he was also Mowgli in the live-action Jungle Book movie.
Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
he was. You will not recognize him for that because no one's seen that movie in 40 plus years.
But it's so good.
It happened 30 years ago.
But anyway, so
yeah.
It was good. Come on. So,
all right.
So Dragon, though, that was featured. That fight was definitely in there. Definitely.
Yep, it was big.
Different.
Let me break it down real quick. Young Bruce Lee is trying to make a name for himself while working as a martial arts instructor in 1964 San Francisco. When Lee meets Wong Jack Man, he challenges the Kung Fu master to a no-holds-barred fight that became the stuff of legend. Now, as you said, this is a thing that actually happened, but this is also around the time where Bruce Lee wasn't the big name. Right. Bruce Lee was just coming into his own, and he was just starting to be recognized as a famous martial arts figure.
Back then, you had to challenge the schools, you know what I mean? So you had to kind of you had to be boisterous. You went to these like events, you went to these things where they were, showing their displays of the mastery of their martial art.
Yep, and he was also a representative of Kung Fu, which was not considered as prestigious and as legit as the other styles.
And also, it was kind of frowned upon to kind of have these techniques out there because it was supposed to be a kept secret, some of the stuff they did. So Bruce Lee having this idea that he could teach everybody, he wanted to expose the world to this brand of Kung Fu, really irked a lot of people, the higher ups, that kind of viewed it as something like we should keep, close to the belt. We don't want to have everyone knowing this because it's like our culture.
Yeah,
a little bit. So it was a lot of tension just based on that. And when they say the stuff of legends, it really is that. There's so much about this, and no one knows exactly what happened. A lot is up to interpretation. There's a lot of different viewpoints on what actually went down and how the fight went down and how it all came about. But this is an interesting take on it.
Well, you saw the movie, man. Give us your.
I didn't like the first of all. It kind of narrated and followed the story of this white guy who follows into the school and he starts being trained. So I thought that was really, really right off the bat a horrible way to do this movie. A really kind of it's like this is an incredibly interesting story. This is just that.
Well, see, now I like that part. That part gave me a level of removal.
It's just an entry point, though. I didn't think that it needed. Do you know what I mean? I thought we could have just.
No, I think it definitely needed that because consider it this way: if they told it from Wong's point of view or from Bruce's point of view, there's automatic favoritism from the audience with this is the guy we're following, and also there's an assumption if we're following Bruce Lee specifically, then we assume he's going to be the one that wins, and we're not paying attention to any kind of there could be or there couldn't be. If we're following Wong, then it's like okay, well maybe he's the one that's definitely going to win, and this is going to be a humbling for Bruce, and we're not paying attention. Having it from an outside point of view, it's almost like the audience was in the movie, and these two were watching. Opposing forces come together.
Okay,
but
see.
We're free to choose our sides ourselves.
I see your point, but it's still he's his student. I think it was just a kind of a weird way to almost whitewash.
Well, not just his student. He's both their students.
Right, because he kind of he starts with Bruce, and then he kind of goes and he starts learning more. Basically, his love for Kung Fu, and they're both guys are decent guys. You know what I mean? There's not a good guy and a bad guy.
Well, there's.
So much.
There's the good guy who's a little too into his own path, and then
creating
there's
the
other good guy who's really cavalier about everything.
Yes.
Yeah. The guy we're talking about, by the way, is Steve McKee, played by Billy Mangruson, and I've never actually heard his face looked kind of familiar, so I may have seen him somewhere, but I've never actually heard the name, so I'm not sure. Billy Mangruson.
He's got that just generic, blonde hair.
Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm thinking of someone else that just looks like him.
But I think it was it's just, I don't know. It's
no. It's one of those things where it's like, do I know that guy? He's kind of like, but so and so and blank and blank. But I think it was good having the movie from his point of view because when it came down to the actual fight, the big publicized battle between Bruce Lee and Wong Jack Man, it was it allowed us to see that we've been following these dudes from an objective point of view. So we've gotten both the good parts of their character and the bad parts of their character. And one thing that I really like about this, I was mentioning to Johnny before the show when he said, shenanigans and BS, and I was like, no, dude, trust me, it's real. Is if you've ever seen documentaries about Bruce Lee at this time,
yeah,
it always like documentaries will be more truthful than movies. And this is one thing.
It's supposed to be all fact. Yeah.
But this is one thing Dragon, I think, really either missed or went out of its way not to show that he's
mythifies him almost. You know what I mean?
It does, and that's the problem, because the documentaries will show Bruce Lee wasn't just a good martial artist, wasn't just passionate. He was fanatical to the point where
smack talker too.
Exactly, he was fanatical to the point where it was like, I'm so incredible at this. Nobody can see me. I'm the man. Well, also, and he was very vocal about that, and that gave him a negative reputation, not just for being the less popular style, the style that no one wants to show, but the fact that he was very in your face.
But he also actually fully believed he was that good, and then one of the outcomes of this fight is like he thought he could beat Wong Jack Man, very handily. Yeah. And so when he fought him,
every popped collar, frosted tipped sunglasses on the back of the head douche thinks the same thing. I'm the shiz. Bruce Lee thought he was the shiz.
When he struggled to beat him handily, you know what I mean, he then in real life dedicated himself to actually training harder and stuff, and like he became fanatical at the idea that he just couldn't run through this guy. And so that kind of shaped the later life of Bruce Lee in terms of his dedication and his willingness to try these really unconventional techniques and training patterns and everything like that. I know like there's so many stories about what he would do in terms of like how he would eat these really interesting shakes with raw meat.
Yeah, his body was supposed to be a machine, so he went through periods of fasting. He would eat next to nothing. He would train 14 to 18 hours a day. He would train and sleep, and then wake up and train and sleep, and that really caused a struggle, which they didn't show in the maybe it was too early to show in the movie. But from documentaries,
that really about that. Yeah,
caused a struggle in his personal life. That's what's up?
I just had a question. Is this like pre Yukon Do or post?
Yes, this is early Bruce Lee, before the creation of Jeet Kune Do.
Jeet Kune Do.
Okay, thank you. Yep, before the creation of Jeet Kune Do, and he's still practicing Gun Fu.
So Wing Chun kind of.
Yeah, a variation of Kung Fu. Yeah. And he's still like trying to get respect in martial arts communities. There's a lot of exhibitions. There's a lot of smack talking. There's a lot of people like, no, he's not that great. I can take him. And then he beats one guy. Okay, well, that guy wasn't that good either. I can take him. And then he's got to beat this guy. And well, you know what? He's not that, and he's got to prove himself over and over again. And they show a little of that. But like we said, this is not Bruce Lee's story. If anything, it's split between the story of Bruce Lee coming up and being himself, and the story of Wong Jack Man coming to America and not wanting to prove himself, but kind of being forced. Yes.
He was a monk and he came through. And so
sounds awesome.
All those videos you see, like if you can go on YouTube and you see him doing like the 1-inch punch, those famous things, those are what he would go around doing to promote his school. So like when Bruce Lee came to America, you know what I mean? He was going to school and he started this karate instruction school. And the only way to get, people to come and give him money to train them, he had to go to these big, fundraisers and events and things and show off his skill. And if people are like, wow, that's crazy, I want to train under him. And so that was really the only way to do it, before, social media, before the internet, before, putting flyers up on walls. Like he had to show and be the cockiest and the best. And so that obviously but that had to make a name for himself because that's money in your pocket. So he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and so this was a way to prove yourself too, as you lay down a challenge against the best.
He did. This is true, and over time he got to be known as he's Bruce Lee, but he's more of a reputation than a performer. You know what I'm saying? Like even now, people know the name Bruce Lee. And I know kids that have never seen a Bruce Lee movie, but they know of the name Bruce Lee.
Of course.
He's that guy. He does martial arts. Okay, cool. Have you seen the movie? Nah, but I know this character in this video game that was based off him. It's stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce Lee had a different when he started breaking into movies too. Obviously, he didn't do a lot before he passed away, but what he did in terms of change martial arts in movies, like. before that, a lot of the kung fu movies was like you would fight for like 20 minutes and it'd be like psh, 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 and these blocks and Bruce Lee, when he came in, he would actually hit you in the face with a nunchuck and knock you out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So he changed it in terms of like he would run through people and actually hit you, opposed to like the block.
Yeah, I
punch,
can't be wasting
block,
time on these
punch,
suckers, man. I got
exactly. So he had this thing where
I got people to save.
Yeah, exactly. He would run through people and had the full contact. You know what I mean? And what is it? In Enter the Dragon 2, he hits a young Jackie Chan in the face with a kendo stick. Too. That's a true story.
Grabs him by the hair, turns him around, and pushes him off. All right, but that's enough about like Bruce Lee. Let's talk about the movie itself, because, dude, I want to know your opinion of this picture.
Like I said, I really disliked the white narrator, that entry point. But
as a guy, as an actor,
not as an actor. I just thought it was a kind of a tacky way to go about this. I thought it was kind of like this culture thing. You know what I mean? You're having a white guy kind of do the introduction. It just seemed kind of it was reductive for me for the picture.
See, I gotta disagree with you there. I think there's a lot of negative ways they could have taken this. This could have been some disrespectful whitewashing BS, and instead
this was a dude. It kind of whitewashed for me.
Nah,
that way.
I did.
Kind of like The Great Wall, kind of like that Keanu Reeves martial arts movie.
We've talked about both of those, man. The Great Wall had Matt Damon in the movie for like
Great
10
Wall
minutes.
is different because that has like legit like fantastical things in it. This is a true story.
And this one I liked from that point of view because there's a white guy there, yes, but he's there as a student, and it's very respectful of the culture, and he's interested in learning. He immerses himself in that world, and that ends up being part of the thing that spawns the fight in itself.
Right.
And I like this actor's interpretation because he's an actual martial artist. You know, he's good. It wasn't just like, well, I've been cast for my looks and I'm kind of flailing around and stuff. No, when he shows his form, there's technique there.
Right.
He also isn't like the Great White Hope, because there's scenes in here where he just gets rough, and you're like, oh, this dude's a student of both Wong Jack-man and Bruce Lee. Okay, of course, I see. He's gonna come in here and clean up like 47 guys in a row. No, like he can handle one guy, he can handle two guys. He's good enough to handle like three guys. When he's facing a whole gang, no, he gets rocked like you'd expect him to get rocked.
Yeah,
I like that because it didn't make him impossible.
I like the two schools. You know what I mean? You're learning because you realize these two guys are, so good at what they do and so well respected within those communities. So it was good to feature both like that. And I like the actor who played Bruce Lee. He kind of got
that dude was ridiculous.
He got the subtleties, the way he kind of speaks. You know what I mean? And just the cockiness,
impressed.
the arrogance. You know what I mean? But also the skill and how like physical and how like really incredible he was as a martial artist.
This dude's physicality when he was doing those like handstand push-ups.
He does the pull-ups too, and he's going back and forth. There's a lot of scenes like that. You're like, this guy's
he was not hired just to be a pretty boy. He looked the part, he acted the part, and he had like the physicality to do Bruce Lee stuff.
Right.
I was damned impressed. I will also especially call special attention to the dude that played Wong Jack-man.
Right. What else has he been in? Because he's fantastic. I've seen him in a bunch of stuff, and I've seen
his face. I was trying to place it during the movie too. Yeah. We're just saying the dude that did. The guy who played Bruce Lee was Philip Ng. Philip Ng. And the guy who played Wong Jack-man was Xia Yu.
All right, click on him. What else did he do?
All right, well, that's going to take a second to come up, but I liked him as Wong Jack-man because he played a very subdued character, and everything you'd expect a Shaolin monk living in society to do. This dude has done Mojin the Lost Legend, In the Heat of the Sun, Birth of Dragon, what we're talking about, Waiting Alone, Double Trouble. A lot of movies I've actually never heard of and never seen. I mean, I know you see everything. I myself thought I had a good knowledge of outside stuff, but it looks to be mostly foreign movies or smaller releases.
In his own country, sure, yeah.
Yeah, have you seen any of these?
Let me see. I'm going through it right now.
Because his portrayal of Wong Jack-man was very, like, he dressed simply. His behavior was like, hey, look, if I need to, I'll mess you up, but I'm going to be very respectful. I'm going to be very demure. And
which is almost more insulting.
It kind of was at times. It was pretty much like, he had that sense of, I'm being very polite, but I kind of want to get the F away from you right now.
Well,
and it's like, I'm masking that under not even a fake smile, just an air of superiority.
Well, when he kind of shows up too, you know what I mean? He's a legend and people know he's there. But was it Bruce Lee thinks he's actually a spy trying to...
Yeah, Bruce Lee thinks he's mainly there just to undercut the...
Just to scope what he's doing and find out like what he's up to report back. I think that was what I got from
which tied in well because I believed that Bruce Lee was very paranoid about this guy. You know,
Right.
Bruce Lee was like, no, I know what you really want. You really just want to... I'm challenging you because I know you think you're better than me. You know, and I believe that from both of them. The acting in this is great. I enjoyed it. I'm a little upset that the movie got such a small response in its opening weekend. We should probably wrap this up. It's got such a small response because they projected it to pull $3 million. You know, a small budget movie about actually some huge subject matter, but small budget movie expected to make a good side return, but it's up against movies like Logan Lucky. Excuse me. It's up against movies like Logan Lucky, and especially what hurt its release was it came out on the weekend of the big fight between Floyd Mayweather.
It
and
also
Conor
didn't
McGregor.
really get pushed that well. Like I heard about it.
That too.
I heard about it
Yeah.
like 4 months ago. And then all of a sudden, I was
It
like,
came
it's
out
being released this weekend. I didn't hear anything
in
in the
America,
lead
yeah.
up. You know what I
It's
mean? I didn't
actually
hear
been out.
anything the last like 3 weeks.
Well, worldwide, it's been out since September of 2016.
Right.
We just now got it here in America.
So, like I said, I was
August
reading and watching
2017.
stuff about this movie months and months and months ago. Then I saw it was released this week, and I was like,
Yeah.
really? Okay, well, there's a,
Well, what
interesting way to push your flick.
it just got kind of a raw deal. It was dealt a bad hand, but you know what? I think the movie withstands a lot of stuff that would bring down other movies. Being up against such a huge event as the fight, no one would go see, a lesser film. And this one, I think, on its own merit, was able to shine through. It didn't pull the money they were hoping, but it did get a fairly decent response in theaters. And I myself, I liked it. I liked the movie. I would recommend anyone who's a fan of Bruce Lee or just a fan of martial arts in general. It's almost better if you're not, because this will be new information for you. If you're someone who's a hardcore fan, you've seen the documentaries, and I will also point out, and tell me if I'm wrong about this, this covered more of the documentary material that you see, documentary style material that you see, than most other movies about Bruce Lee.
Yeah, it's an interesting take. It's one of the most important parts of his career and his legacy. You know what I mean? Is featured in this. Like this. This isn't like by any way the definitive kind of telling of what went on, because no one really knows for sure. There's so much to this legend, and that's what it is. But it's a fun take, and I'll give it that. And I'm fascinated by any Bruce Lee stuff. So
Yeah,
that's all I'll say. If you're interested in that, just I would go see it for sure.
Absolutely. All right, so now to Marvel's Defenders.
Yes.
Netflix's latest release in the Marvel Universe brings together Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Danny Rand, and Matt Murdock,
Yes.
also known as Daredevil, Iron Fist, Power Man, and Jessica Jones. Yeah.
An alcoholic Jessica Jones.
Jewel?
And
Yeah.
Jewel.
I never heard it called that.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Anyways, this was this. I liked it, but I mean, I thought, and I had said this before on the show, that these Marvel series on Netflix in particular were trending down. Over the last few, especially with Iron Fist, which I just
I think
thought
that was a reaction to
just
Iron Fist in
Really,
itself.
yeah, I know, but it was definitely kind of heading in that direction. I was really hoping, and they brought back basically with the writers for Daredevil. I think were responsible for this, and they kind of did that type of story where it's just a little grittier. And I enjoyed this a lot. Of course, I still think the Iron Fist kind of stinks up anything he's in this, but I definitely dug what was going on with the Defenders.
Yeah, man, me too. I was a big fan of Jessica Jones, and I'm like, Marvel's doing great stuff. And then Luke Cage came out, and it was dope.
Right.
Daredevil was the first, I think, to really gain a lot of like big push.
'Cause you're like,
Big-
wow, this is serious. You know what I mean? It was definitely like it was violent. It was in your face. It was
It
definitely
came out
not.
swinging.
It did indeed.
Definitely not the bubblegum type of comic book stuff you're used to, and I really appreciated that. So this is kind of in the same vein, not quite as hardcore, but
Well, this brought them all together in a story that seemed to take place in each of their individual universes, and it brought them together. So tried not to have the style of any single show.
Right.
But yeah, no, it was a Daredevil show with guest stars.
Which is the best thing you could do, I think, in my opinion. You
I don't know.
what
I
mean? 'Cause
would
think
like to have
Daredevil's the
seen
story.
Luke Cage, a Luke Cage story with guest stars because the soundtrack would have been better.
It would have been all gangster, and I would have been all fine with that for sure. All right.
All right. We're talking about the Marvel's Defenders, the newest Netflix series in the Marvel Universe, bringing together those 4 characters I mentioned. And the story is 4 of Marvel's biggest heroes are each working individually, but have one common goal in mind: to save New York City. Burdened with their own personal challenges, Matt Murdock, Daredevil, Jessica Drew, Luke Cage, and Danny Rand, the immortal Iron Fist, realize that they likely won't be able to accomplish their goals working solo. That realization leads them to team up and form the Defenders, a superhero group that is more equipped to save the Big Apple than the heroes would be if they continued to work on their own. Simple premise. Superheroes, they do good on their own. They come together. They should be this like major force. This series showed, each of them is like an extreme personality, and they're all kind of dicks in their own right. They come together, and they're dicks to each other.
Well, it's cool because the other Marvel movies, get Iron Man and all of them together. It's like they were aware of who each other were.
Yeah.
In this one, they're coming together like, who the hell are you? You know what I mean? When Luke Cage is fighting Iron Fist, all of a sudden he gets punched with the fist, and he's like, damn, you know what I mean? It's like, so they didn't know who each other were. Their identities are more or less kind of secret. I like that. So I like that too. So you bring those guys together, and they're realizing, well, I'm not alone. I'm not the most powerful person in the universe. This is, I'm not unique, even though I am. But but
there's other people that can help me accomplish this goal. And even though I'm going to be my own prima donna self, I do acknowledge that, maybe I should concede and let this cat jump in, to the fray and back me up. Because when I'm facing like 47, 49, 93 people on my own, it might get a little hairy.
Yeah, they're humbled a little bit by it. And I like that take as well. So
me too. Johnny, you're awfully quiet over there, buddy.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, but yeah, as you both said, I mean, Iron Fist is the bad taste in everyone's mouth.
And it's gonna be the one black spot Marvel's got to we'll try to wash away.
He doesn't get any better. It's just like he's not. He doesn't really have much charisma as an actor, as like a character. I
got to give it to him. He was much more likable in the Defenders here than he was in his own series.
Probably because he was used as
can't get any worse.
Punching bag, perhaps. I hope he was at least.
Wow.
As like a comic relief kind of thing, let's rag on this guy.
Well, as ice cold as that is, he was at times.
There we go.
But this series really painted that in a realistic light, and not realistic. Think about what the fair we're talking about. But I believed how they got from point A to point B to point C to point D, more than I normally would with most comic book stuff. Most comic book stuff is written like, well, that over there, it's Superman. Well, tell me, Superman, I got to know about this. Okay, it's Captain America, I'll tell you this. And okay, what do you think about this Batman and stuff like that? It's written kind of shoddily. If you watch the first Avengers movie, where they had the battle for New York, the dialogue actually comes across like that. Even though it's a great movie, the dialogue is one thing that is it comes across like a comic book. This came across mostly like people talking to each other. They just happen to be talking about ninjas and punching dragons and friggin'
very comic-y related topics.
Yeah. Yep. I just plain like this damn show so much because Jessica Jones was good. Luke Cage was good. Daredevil was good. We won't talk about Iron Fist, but I was hoping that this wouldn't be the thing that really taints the legacy of those shows.
Yep.
And I like that they shortened it. Those series, I believe, were all 13 episodes each.
12 or 13, yeah.
Yeah.
Right around that,
correct, yeah.
And it felt like they told their story, and then for some reason they felt the need to keep going. I think Luke Cage should have ended when Cottonmouth died.
Yep.
Sorry, spoilers. It's been like what, 2-3 years?
And Jessica Jones should have been about 6 episodes shorter.
Yeah, and they told the story, and then they kind of dragged it out.
Yeah.
Which I think they just had to fulfill the 13
you
episode
could
contract.
have, but I didn't feel like, oh my god, it ended already. You know what I mean? Where
I kind of did.
It wasn't so bad, but yeah, I mean, how many times did she capture? I forget the villain's name.
Kilgrave, played by David Tennant.
Yeah, she captured him. He got away. She captured him again. he got away again. Like, it happened over and over
They
again.
did it on some BS.
Who's the antagonist of the Defenders?
Yeah, that's a big important thing,
Yeah,
right? I
and-
mean, in order to have a good reason for all these superheroes to gather together, they need a really tour de force to go up against.
Yes, a character set you might only be familiar with if you watch Daredevil. The Hand is a ninja organization bent on not necessarily world domination, but more having a powerful enough place that if they decided to take over the world, it'd be no thing for them. You know, they're more prominent in the comics. This was the first time
Super Ninjas, yeah.
Yeah, it's the first time an on-screen media tried to tackle an organization like the Hand, and I thought they did it really well.
It's like a
by
really
keeping them
badass Foot Clan.
Yeah, it's actually a really good way to say that. And it kept them kind of mostly off-screen. You know, the only people you really see are the 5 leaders of the Hand, and well, before the 5 leaders of the Hand, and a few of their henchmen here or there. The only times you see them in large numbers is when you have those the big fight scenes, the hallway fight scenes.
Right.
Like they keep throwing in every series. This one I think might be my favorite of all of them.
It's
because,
good.
For the fight scene?
Yeah. Because sometimes it's kind of hackneyed. It's a thing they do they do it in all the movies. They do it in the other shows. But this one was dope.
This one was good. I mean, and to top the 2 that were in first and second season of Daredevil is really saying something, because those are some really great, just not just the physical acting of it, but the way it was shot, the way
the choreography, yeah.
Beautiful.
Good.
Funny you mentioned earlier, this is not the whole team, but this is a chunk of the team from the Daredevil writers that did this. And I overheard a interview with them, and it did sound like it wasn't the more senior level people of this that sort of had the bigger picture in mind. These were the people that handled the smaller details of the writing as far as the writers for this. So I was a little nervous and skeptical as to whether or not they could handle this, the collection of 4 different superheroes together in one place.
Yeah, I didn't even know all that.
Also in the interview, they mentioned that their goal was to leave the characters in the same state that they received them in storyline-wise. They couldn't do anything significant to these characters, such that they would have to make major changes to their individual series.
Wait, so that scene when Iron Fist got the sex change, you're telling me that wasn't a dramatic change?
That was fine. Not sanctioned.
That's
that
in
was
the next series. We all know.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Spoilers.
No Punisher cameo?
I'm not gonna tell you that, brother. Yeah, I will say though, dude, this was a very surprising, very refreshing new addition to Marvel's and I guess Netflix's TV universe, because they're doing good things. I was afraid this would have gone the route of Agents of Shield, where it's like we got the other popular properties. Now let's kind of play it safe with a lot of stories and just kind of like really pander to audiences without any kind of a legitimate play out in the stories. You know, everything's gonna seem almost like an early '90s comic book movie. You know, Agents of Shield has always come across as kind of corny to me. This was not corny. Yo, people died. Parts of this was gory. The fights were like you felt punches, you felt kicks. You know, you were worried for the heroes. You know, it compels you. This was more compelling than any of the other shows. I have to give this dude. I got to give this a thumbs up, man. This was dope.
Yep, it's free.
Yeah, that
it's a nice brisk series that kind of reestablishes these characters that you really like, and definitely the ones that you don't. So it's telling, you know what I mean? So I really recommend watching this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I said, it's a nice, good 8 episodes of these characters that you already
it's nice and tight too.
That's
good.
How would the two of you sort of stack this up against the mainline series for each of these characters?
Actually, this was a nice addition to them. I think if you want to put them all against each other, this was better than the individual shows, but only because you got those characters and more.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's such a hard thing to judge. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't do it, but I don't think anything's better for me than the original Daredevil series. So I hold those up, and then that Jessica Jones series is fantastic. So I don't think they really compete.
You'd place it underneath those two?
I mean, if I had to, I don't think I would try it. They're so different. You know what I mean? They offer different things. but they're both good.
Mm.
They're both really good. So that's the point. I think I would definitely watch it again. And
All
I
right.
will.
Yep. All right. So it's Marvel's Defenders. It's available from Netflix right now, actually. I highly recommend checking it out.
I'll be checking it out.
All right, cool. This has been the Geek Down here on WEMF Radio. I've been Pat B with
And Willow.
and
Just Johnny.
of course, DJ Herbie Herb. Want to thank you all for joining us. Want to remind you all you can hit us up and let us know your thoughts on anything we covered tonight at geekdownradio@gmail.com. Also, check us out on SoundCloud, on YouTube, or on iTunes, on Facebook, on Twitter. Basically, you type in The Geek Down with the first results that come up, or if you go to our site, geek-down.com, in the About section, you'll find links to all those there, all the social medias and good stuff. Download us, like us, subscribe, all that good stuff. And check us out next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, be excellent to each other. Peace.
Till the day I die.